Hey everyone, welcome to Financial Revelations. I am David Szafranski. Of course, you can always call here, 1-800-344-2534. You can email Corey at epsf.com. And we're going to do a little contest for a shirt today, so make sure you have Corey's email address written down, Corey at epsf.com. We just got back from the Amazon. We showed you some pictures of that last week, and we already have the trip scheduled for next year where we're going to dig a well. If you want to go, we're leaving March 3rd. It'll be 11 days. We'll be back March 14th, if you're doing your math there. And you could support the trip if you want to. You can go to nativosusa.org. We have our own 501c3 where we are the American fundraising arm for not only the mission that we do in Maués, Brazil, but also some other missionaries that work with people there too. There's a church there that builds bathrooms. If you've ever used the indigenous bathroom, you'll understand why he wants to build bathrooms for people. And then there's another mission that's reaching out to people who live along the river, and it's always the gospel is why we're there. And we meet another need also. For us, it's water or bathrooms or construction. And the gospel is all part of it. So the whole idea of Nativos USA is to support missionaries in that area and, maybe even other missionaries over time. But that's a relatively new development for us. So nativosusa.org, and you can donate right from there. You can see pictures. We're going to upload videos from our most recent trip. You can contact us, and you can go if you want to go. Now, I got to tell you, we live on a boat. We have flush toilets and showers and all of that, and private bathrooms. And but you sleep in a hammock. We eat on the boat. We live on the boat. We don't really go into the jungle. All the villages are right along the river. That's our highway, their transportation, one of their food sources. But it is not the Love Boat. It's not like a celebrity cruise. You're going to get hot and dirty, and you're going to love it. So contact us if you have an interest in going or supporting or praying for us. So we love that. So there's a lot of news going on right now. I waited till today to do the podcast because really one important thing, and that was President Trump spoke to the nation last night. And I'm a President Trump supporter and a big fan. And I think while he does message a lot and the people around him message a lot, I think that there needs to be a little bit more press conferencey, like official press conference stuff like last night, or him showing up in the East Wing or whatever it is, not just the gaggle where they talk about all the things that we're doing, because I think some of the messaging is getting lost. And the press, the address to the nation that he did last night, I think he should have done 3 weeks ago. And there wasn't really a lot of new stuff in there. So the market kind of fell off a little bit overnight. The futures were down, but the market is very well behaved today. It's down a little bit. It's not down a lot. Oil prices did spike. I think they just need to be better on the messaging. And I pay attention to this stuff all the time. So I'm watching the videos of Marco Rubio on the tarmac for like an hour while he goes over this, and he did meet the press and some other things, and I watch those things after the fact. But I think it really has to come from President Trump more, and I would like to see him do more of the things like he did last night in a more official capacity on a more regular basis, updating about the war. My thought is this. We have to open up the Straits of Hormuz. That has to happen, either by force or by negotiation. My guess is it's going to be by force. And that's going to take a couple more weeks, and you will be able to declare victory once that happens. And we could go on bombing Iran for the next 200 years, and nobody will even care. Because really, nobody cares if we do that. I'm sorry. Nobody cares. I don't even know if I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Nobody cares if we bomb Iran. We're expected to bomb Iran, actually. but we do care about gas prices. And it's an economic question. And a growing, thriving economy, really, you need good energy prices. And if you don't have, our power just went out and flicked back on, so you hear my computer starting back up again. Don't get sidetracked by a shiny object, okay? So it's about economics, and it's not just about gas in the Middle East. It's about helium and liquefied natural gas and other big trade items that transit through that area, and you cannot let Iran control that area. You cannot do it. It's impossible. Do not let them do that. And if we leave without opening that up, I think it's going to be a loss. Now, it's not a loss because we've set them back probably decades on their nuclear ambitions and their missile program. But we need that strait open. That's just a reality of the situation. And I think they're being pesky longer than what we thought. And so we need to focus on that. And I'm hoping that I'm not shedding light on anything for them. I hope they already know this, and I'm pretty sure that they do. So you could see this happening, I think, in the next couple of weeks where we do open the strait. It does open fairly unabated to shipping traffic. And, whether we take Carg Island or not it's not really relevant to me. I don't even want their oil. I don't want their oil money. I want to return their oil money to a real government in Iran that is going to look after their people. Do we really care about that? No, we don't. But it would be nice to see, because right now they have a theocracy whose main goal is to kill the Jews and us. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they would kill the Jews and find a way to kill us with it. They would blow up the Middle East. They would use a nuclear weapon. I don't doubt this for a second, because they're already blowing up their neighbors. So if they got mad at us and we had to deal with them, they're going to blow up the Middle East. It's as factual as you can get without having it written in stone. So we did the right thing. It's time to finish the job, and we have to finish the job. We must do that. And I don't care that NATO hasn't helped us. I do care, and we're going to deal with that after the fact. We're not opening up the Straits of Hormuz for the NATO countries. We're opening up the Straits of Hormuz for the Middle East and for the free flow of goods and services throughout that body of water, which is an international body of water. It's not Iran's. And so we need to do that. It affects us. It affects our economy. And because it affects us and affects our economy, we have to do it. And that's what we're going to do. And it's probably taking longer than what they had hoped. But it's going to happen. So I feel relatively certain, especially as you look at the contracts for oil 6 months from now, they're dramatically lower. Now, that could change if this lasted longer, but it hasn't changed. And so the market believes that this is going to happen, and I believe it's going to happen. And in 3 weeks, we're going to be probably almost done talking about Iran, I think. And we're going to move on from there, and the markets will recover relatively quickly. Now, gas prices won't come down automatically, because you're going to have to get tankers flowing again, and you're going to have to get that cadence of onloading and offloading happening again. So they will come down a little slower than they went up. It generally happens that way. But don't worry about it. It's going to happen, okay? It's a very short period of time. This is nothing like Biden inflation. In fact, this is better because Obama and Biden really didn't deal with Iran except to mail them cash. We sent them like $8 billion of cash, literal cash, on pallets in our planes, and then they use it to terrorize the world. Well, Donald Trump is not going to do that. And so I totally agree with what he did. I just wish it would happen faster. And it's been 32 days. One of the things that I liked that he did last night when he addressed the nation was that he said, World War II took this long, World War I took this long, Vietnam, Korea, we've been there for 32 days, and we've totally decimated their country. If we had this firepower in World War II, it would have lasted 6 months, honestly. And we're basically bombing kids in a sandbox right now. They have no defense against what we're doing whatsoever. They can't stop anything that we're doing, but they can't stop ships in the Straits of Hormuz, and we got to deal with that. And so we're going to deal with that. And in other news, we fired the Attorney General today. Who knows why? Lee Zeldin has been floated as a replacement. He is an attorney. He's the head of the EPA right now. I like that. I like Lee Zeldin. I think he's a powerhouse in the administration, and having him at the EPA has been really good, but it kind of sidelines him a little bit because he's out of the public eye. If you had him as Attorney General, you give him some street cred that he did not have before, and I like that. He is a firebrand, and I'm hoping that rumor is true. I think he'd be a great Attorney General. You know, I think one of the greatest Attorney Generals we have, well, two. Now, you're not going to agree with me, was Eric Holden and Janet, what was Janet's last? Janet Reno. And why were they great Attorney Generals? Because they defended their president. And I got to tell you, there are times where I am in awe at the Democrats, how they, when they need to, will line up and lockstep and do what they need to do when Republicans kind of mess the bed. Like this Save America Act. We messed the bed with this. This is a great idea to keep our elections fair, safe, and secure, and they couldn't get behind it. Why? Because they're morons. Well, I think Lee Zeldin is the kind of guy that could go lockstep and defend your president, and that's what we need. You can't, like, the whole thing where Donald Trump got impeached on a lie, his Attorney General didn't protect him, and he should have. That was a big mistake, and I do think Lee Zeldin would be a good choice. You need to protect your president. The Democrats did a good job of doing that. We don't so much. Lee Zeldin is a firebrand. I like him. Hold the line. It's going to be a long weekend. A lot can happen. Mainly, you're going to see good things happening now. And the reporting I ran has been horrible. You would almost think we're losing there. But I'm telling you, they don't have a Navy. They don't have an Air Force. They have no air defenses. We killed every one of their leaders having a nice little brunch on the veranda. They had no idea this was coming. There's nothing they can do to stop us now. Honestly, there's nothing they can do to stop our air power. Now, a lot of people would say, well, air power alone is not enough to do regime change. But when you kill everybody in the regime, regimes change. They don't have a choice. And eventually, they're going to come to the realization that they have to make a choice. Are they going to allow all their infrastructure to be decimated, or are they going to come to the table and agree to something? And we would basically leave them alone. If you look at the North Korean model, we don't touch North Korea. One, because they have nuclear weapons, but they're pretty insular. They don't really project power outside of North Korea. They don't care about the world. They don't want the world. Well, their leader doesn't want the world. If Iran said, you know what, I think we can get along with the Jewish people and the Americans, which they could, and we would support them in that effort, they would have a thriving country. They have a lot of oil. They sell it in the Middle East. They're a big producer. They have things like helium that we use. People say, well, how many balloons could you fill up? Helium has nothing to do with balloons. You use it in the production of microchips. You probably didn't know that. Helium is a critical mineral in the production of microchips. You know, pretty soon your doorstop is going to have a microchip in it. It's going to, well, this is how much force you use to close the door, and this is how long the door was against the microchip or the doorstop. Everything has a microchip. You need helium. We need the straits open. It would be good for the world if Iran was a peaceful, thriving country. They could be they were a cosmopolitan country before. If you look back before the Shah was deposed, people were normal there. You saw people dressed normally, men in suits, women dressed like women dress. I don't know how women dress, but they were dressed like women. Not anymore. Now they're wearing full-face burqas and they've got the morality police. Well, that's over, hopefully. And if they could become a thriving nation, the world wins. The Middle East wins. You have another group of consumers. You have people that build things and have ideas and take them to the open market. This is something that has been missing there. They'll have access to the internet, free and unfettered. But we need the Straits. Donald Trump, if you're watching, and I'm pretty sure he does watch, open the Straits of Hormuz. That's your next mission, and I've given it to you. I am David Szafranski, a real American, and I'm going to give away a shirt. If you send Corey an email that says, open the Straits of Hormuz, and it's got to be spelled correctly. So you're going to Google, open the Straits of Hormuz, you'll get a t-shirt. Might not be in your size, but I don't care. Okay? If it's too small, get on Wegovy. That's my recommendation to you. I am David Szafranski, a real American, a true red-blooded patriot, and the voice you can trust.